The Arctic Ocean, 5.5 million square miles of sea and ice. One of the most dangerous places on Earth. But every year, an extraordinary team of skydivers carve out an airport just 20 miles from the North Pole. Beside it, an oasis springs up in this frozen desert, Camp Barneo.
5-star Arctic hotel.
The camp is a magnet for people with big dreams.
I've just been dipping my boot in the end of the runway.
Marathon runners.
You're so tired, you don't know where you are, you don't know who you are. You want to die.
Champagne tourists.
It's a long drive contest, apparently.
And international scientists.
It's sort of like God made you a laboratory right out in the perfect spot.
Amateur adventurers go in search of the ultimate experience.
It's just like walking into a different world that you never would have dreamed or prepared for.
We could be going into absolute carnage.
They have just 3 weeks to pursue their Arctic dreams before Barneo melts into the sea. This is one season at the world's most extreme outpost.
Welcome to the Arctic Ocean! Woohoo!
It's mid-April, and Camp Barneo is entering the final week of the season. It's full to bursting with groups in transit to and from the North Pole.
Yes.
Saddler! He's on our fire!
They don't see many women here in the season, so the first one they see,
The incredible runway at Barneo makes all kinds of adventures possible. The airstrip is carved from ice just 1 meter thick. Below it, a 2.5-mile drop to the ocean floor.
Yeah, unique people, unique experience. Serious job, actually, to land on this area.
The morning flight has a very special cargo. Base manager Sasha is on hand to greet them.
Our clients like to use the dogs to reach the North Pole.
Huskies have been used to pull sleds for over 1,000 years. Their handler, Rafael, is from Poland.
I try to give some time to my dogs to go out from the cages.
For 6 months a year, Rafael runs dog treks across the Arctic, leaving his wife and young child at home.
And my family is not with me up here. This is the only friends what I have sometimes in the ice when I'm traveling with them. And of course, my emotion to them is quite strong.
This year marks a changing of the guard. It will be the last trip for lead dog Wally.
He will not go with me to the North Pole anymore. He's too old. 11 years is enough. Now it's just a good time to retire time. I think it's more emotional for me, like for him. In the next year when I will go to the North Pole and Wally is not in my team, it's, I can say it's a strange feeling. Yeah, it's one of your friends and he always follow you. Definitely I will miss him quite a lot.
Wally's replacement, Nelson, has a lot to learn.
For him, it's the first time being in the ice. I mean, for him, everything is really new up here. He's really lovely. The only problem is he's also a little bit aggressive. Suddenly he's not like anymore his friend beside him and just start fight.
Rafael is hoping that Wally's experience will rub off on the young pup. They're heading out on a training run before Rafael's clients arrive.
Yeah. Ha. Yeah, animal. Yeah.
Back at camp, Operations Director Misha is giving some visitors a safety briefing.
One day this pressure ridge can fall down.
Misha is a legend in the polar world for his groundbreaking expeditions. His experience is invaluable. This late in the season, the ice is starting to thin.
It looks like very solid, huh? Yeah, but if you will step it there,
There's no land in the Arctic. The ice, and everything on it, is constantly moving across the surface of the ocean. Misha can calculate the speed of the drift with a GPS.
35 minutes ago we had 89.44.1. Now we have the same northern direction. It means 45 meters. We moved 45 meters. For one day we can move more than 2 kilometers. Let's go to
The ice airport receives up to 3 flights a day from Norway, 600 miles to the south. Today, an old friend of Barneo makes his return.
Very good, nice to be back again. It feels so fresh here, it's like it's my first time. I better not say that to my customers, they'll think I'm a beginner.
Eric Phillips has been leading expeditions to the pole for 10 years. This season, he's been hired by 4 businessmen who'll make the trek north on skis. Before they set off, the team must agree their travel plans with Barneo's boss, Misha.
What I was planning, we can drop all of you here, but it will be not earlier than 6 hours since now.
6 hours? Because it's half a day we lose, otherwise otherwise we should start from here.
We just can't make it faster.
I understand that. We can begin from here, but it's more difficult.
Most teams begin their expeditions with a short helicopter ride to a drop-off point east of the camp. They can then harness the drift of the ice, using it like a conveyor belt to help carry them towards the pole. But Eric's team are on a tight schedule. Work commitments mean that they must be on a flight home in just 4 days' time. And there isn't space on a chopper for another 6 hours. After a quick vote, the group decide not to wait.
You would like to leave now?
We would like to leave now. If we can't fly,
Barneo.
Yeah, if we can't fly, then we leave now and we push to the pole.
You don't want to wait for 6 hours? Why?
Because 6 hours time, it will be 9 o'clock at night. By the time the groups are ready to leave, it will be midnight. We fly for half an hour. It will be 12:30 in the morning. We stop. We camp anyway. We can't ski.
I see it. I am a little bit surprised, guys. You can do it if the weather will not change. I will repeat to you. But if something wrong, your chances getting much less.
Yeah.
Against Misha's advice, Eric's team has opted to start their trek from Barneo. But this means they will be skiing against the drift of the ice. For every 2 steps taken forward, they'll drift 1 step back.
I'm just conscious that people have a limited time here on the ice, and the more time we spend here at Barneo, the more time lost experiencing this incredible environment.
We've been here 3 hours already. We don't really want to hang around another 6 hours, and then it may drift again and drift again. Suddenly we've lost half a day of what will be a fantastic adventure.
Let's go! North we go! Nanu!
They're the only team this season to take on the pole from Barneo. Time will tell if it's the right decision.
They were in big rush. I don't know why. They didn't want to wait and they decided to live here, which is fine for them. But I don't know about final result. See you guys in 3 days times at the North Pole, hopefully.
Ice Camp Barneo has opened up the North Pole to anyone who has the cash. The Arctic tourist industry is booming as thrill seekers search for the ultimate getaway. Alex Hearn is from London and runs his own networking business. He spent the last 7 days on a trip to the North Pole with his dad, Simon.
It was unreal. Absolutely the best thing I've ever done in my life. It was just unreal. Awesome to do with a dad.
Yeah, I mean, it was the most amazing thing I've ever done apart from marrying my wife. But apart from that, that was good.
He has to say that.
I have to say it. No, I mean it when I say it. That it is good. It was amazing.
Simon is a former army officer. Arriving at the top of the world was the perfect opportunity to display his regimental loyalty while hanging out with Alex.
Let me zoom in, let me zoom in. Let me zoom in. Wrong way around, Badge. It's upside down. Badge, it's upside down. There it is.
Riding in Barneo's helicopters is the first contact Simon has had with the Russians since the end of the Cold War.
I used to train to shoot these down years ago with a tank ran. They are very reliable, very, very good at shoots.
The helicopter isn't the only piece of Russian kit that Simon's got his eye on.
At home we have a little farm, a very small holding, but we have a couple of tractors on it, and I love tractors. I'm a bit of a tractor thing. I've got a bit of a problem about them. And just over here, these two Caterpillars, I'm dying to have a go on one.
The tractors are essential to the running of Barneo and out of bounds to tourists. But Simon won't take no for an answer.
Can we have a go on it? A quick go? Have a go? Good man.
He actually is obsessed with tractors, so this is like a dream. This is probably his best part of the trip.
Amazingly, this 5-ton tractor was parachuted onto the ice. It was used to carve out the precious runway.
I mean, that's pretty critical. Without that thing, we don't have an airfield. I'm tempted to say only the Russians could do it because they're just so used to this weather. I mean, in -40, carving out an airstrip is amazing.
I think for my dad, this will be better than going to the North Pole. There you go. He loves tractors.
Don't often get to play with a toy like that at the North Pole. Made my day.
A couple of miles from camp, Rafael is giving his team of Greenland huskies a good workout.
Wally, level, level, level. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah.
He steers the sled by giving voice commands to the 2 lead dogs.
Ha, ha. Yeah.
Together, the pack can hit speeds of up to 25 miles an hour. Even traveling at such a pace, the animals can sense any weak spots in the ice.
The dogs, they're much more lighter like we are in our sleds. And they really well feel that in ice. When they stop, it just means we should stop as well.
When they stop to make camp, there's a chance for team bonding.
I just clean the mouth and face from the ice when they're breathing and running and eat snow, scratch everyone and pet him a little bit to make him happy and better relationship with me. And that's it. It's kind of thank you for good day, thank you for good work.
New recruit Nelson, the only Alaskan husky in the pack, seems to have settled in.
Like the first training, he is perfect. It's nothing more to say about him.
He was running quite well. For this kind of young dogs, anyway, it's good experience.
All dog teams have a finely balanced hierarchy. Fights are not uncommon.
Nee! Nee, West! Nee!
Rafael must show them who's top dog.
Nee! We say everything what is going wrong in your team is not fault of the dogs, it's your fault. You are human, you have the big brain, you should think for yourself and for them as well. When your dog's doing something wrong, it's simple, you don't train them enough. That's it.
The Arctic ice is a dangerous place for both man and beast. Rafael loves his dogs, but last year an injury tested even the strongest of bonds.
You cannot really get help much up here. The only way what you can do sometimes is just shoot this dog. Believe me, it's difficult to shoot your friend. When your eyes is full of crying and you do that in a way after you don't feel really good. When I close my eyes, I still see this dog. And this is not nice feeling. It's something what can happen, be really terrible, and I hope so be never more repeat to me.
As Rafael collects snow for cooking, he spots an ominous shape on the horizon.
This direction, yellow point.
There have been sightings of polar bears in the area.
It's not that many seals up here. He's too far away in the north. It means the polar bear what you meet up here, he mostly is really hungry. I have revolver, 44 Magnum, just for some case when something happen and we get the polar bear. Don't forget, we are the guests up here. He's in home. It means when he is nice, we take camp away, dogs away, and we go away. When he is aggressive, we try to scare him. That's it. Come on, boys. Yeah. Oh.
Respecting that he is in the bear's territory, Rafael decides to head back to the safety of Barneo. The training run was a success. The team is ready for lead dog Wally's last expedition to the top of the world.
I think my dog is always ready to go to the North Pole. Me as well.
Barneo runs around the clock, but the staff do get some time off. Bad weather has closed the runway, and the tourists have taken over.
The Arctic Camp Barneo.
Actually, the first match in my life, and it's in North Pole.
When the weather clears, activity of a different nature is underway. Barneo is not just for tourists. It's also an important research station for an international community of scientists. They come here to gather data and make experiments that are only possible in this extreme climate.
Okay, that looks good.
One of the most surprising members of this scientific group is 17-year-old Eton schoolboy Parker.
You know, I grew up in Palo Alto, California, and then I moved to London when I was 9.
While his friends are busy with last-minute revision for exams, Parker has been trekking to the North Pole with expedition leader Doug Stoop.
I actually have my first A-level 3 days after my flight back to London.
Oh my God!
My school is pretty supportive, but they do have some issues, I think, with my priorities. They don't feel like, a lot of the time, they don't feel like my priority is the school, which is a fair point, and to an extent, it's true.
The Arctic is one of the most hostile environments on Earth. Last year, tragedy struck during an adventure holiday to a glacier in the region.
6 months ago, A student from Eton was killed in a polar bear attack. I actually knew the person who was killed. He was a classmate. He was in a couple of my classes at school.
Parker funds his trips through sponsorship. On this expedition, already his third to the pole, he's been collecting snow samples for a climate change project.
What matters right now scientifically is the composition of the snow. So basically what we're interested in is looking at from the sea ice surface down here all the way up to the surface of the snow. It's a record for what has happened in terms of the climate over the last 5 years. All the bottles are going to be packed up and sent to the International Atomic Energy Agency to be analyzed. The data is going to be put into a database and distributed to about 4,500 scientists or more around the world. That's enough. I'm going to send off these bottles, and now I'm going to go back to school and do A-level chemistry. You know, I don't... It's a bit of a bore, to be honest.
Parker will have further distractions from schoolwork. He's planning a return trip to the Arctic in the summer. For Australian guide Eric and his team, things are not going so well. It's day 2. They're 25 miles from the pole, and the weather is against them.
Well, we've woken up this morning and it's misty. Visibility is all but gone, and that will slow things down today, unfortunately. We also got some negative drift overnight. We lost maybe 4 kilometers. We have our work cut out for ourselves, but we knew that at the beginning. We just need to work hard.
For Eric's clients, this is a whole new experience. Paul's in his 50s and owns a building company in Essex.
The first session was an absolute nightmare. Big pressure ridges, a lot of blocks of ice, and we relied hugely on Eric's ability to pick his way through the ice field and the ice blocks. But it went on and on and on.
Yeah, try to come across onto that one there.
This frozen sea can be perilous.
There is okay, but the middle is open.
Without warning, the ice sheets separate, creating areas of open water.
We had to take the skis off and actually pull on foot because it was just, for us, too technically difficult to twist and turn on skis and pull toboggans all at the same time.
The team are also fighting against the moving ice. Every day, the drift carries them 6 miles away from the pole.
Very tough day today. It's the toughest day that I've ever had with a guided group. They don't come this hard normally.
Unfortunately for Eric, things are about to get worse. At Barneo's helipad, Rafael is making his final preparations for the pole. The dogs are loaded onto the chopper, which will carry them to their starting point. For new trainee Nelson, this is his first trip north and his first time in a helicopter.
And also the new one in the pack is Nansen, 9 months old, and it's not too hard for this kind of young dogs. Anyway, it's good experience.
Rafael's clients are a group of friends from Moscow. They travel together all over the world in search of adventure. They've each paid around £26,000 for the trip, inspired by the legend of White Fang, one of literature's most enduring tales.
If you read the books of Jack London, it's a real adventure. When I was young, I read a lot of books like this, because it's an ancient method to go to the north.
Rafael gets the latest ice report from Misha. The information gained from other teams on the ice will help him choose the best place to start his trek.
New blue
pressure ridges everywhere, just very chaotic. Very chaotic. Yeah.
Helicopters taking us to opposite side. It should be much more easy, and also they say from yesterday the message was they get the ice was really nice and flat and not many open water. This means we should manage.
The 20-minute chopper ride will deliver Rafael's team to the east, where the direction of the ice drift will be in their favour. The sleds, packed with food, tents and fuel, weigh 150 kilos. The 12 dogs will pull the kit, and the tourists will ski alongside.
Wally!
Lead dog Wally, on his final mission, has taken the flight in his stride. But for Nelson, it's all too much.
Stay here and don't move. Because this dog will be afraid of you. Nelson!
It's not the best of starts in front of clients who've paid handsomely to be here. But Rafael soon has Nelson back in line.
The dog should not run away from me, just run after me. Anyway, he's young. Huh?
If he will sleep like a dog's 10 hours on snow and then came to the helicopter, I think he'll also be exciting.
The clients are ready and the dogs eager to go. The helicopter heads back to Barneo, leaving the tourists to the ice and their dreams of the pole. This frozen sea may look serene, but its constantly shifting sheets of ice are causing problems back at camp.
Two pieces of ice will meet of each other. They don't like of each other, and they start to fight. And we can see many broken pieces of ice. Sometimes huge, several tons of ice. Variation of pressure ridges. One of beauty of Arctic Ocean.
This beauty has created a meter-high bump in the middle of the runway. All flights have been suspended. The ice is packed under such colossal pressure that the team must use chainsaws to remove it, layer by layer. In a temperature of minus 25 degrees, the runway team will earn their money today. Heading north to the pole, Eric and his team find the ice conditions are in their favor. They have just 1 day left to reach the Earth's summit, but are making good progress.
So we've struck upon this freshly frozen lead, solid enough to ski on. It's not going to last very long because we're back into the pack ice, but it's a nice little break, a nice little joy to ski across. Flat and easy.
The team are working hard. So far, they're managing to outrun the drift that carries them backwards, away from the pole.
If we kept that pace going and pushed it hard, then, we'd likely to get to the pole.
When they stop to make camp, they're just 10 miles from the top of the planet.
So we did have a very big day today. Skiing 18 kilometres, all the time going backwards with a negative drift. So probably altogether we skied, I think, at least 25 or 26 kilometres. Everyone's tired but confident and happy. Today was difficult.
That's our day.
And tomorrow?
hard day.
Maybe.
But Monday, no.
Maybe pole tomorrow.
Yeah.
I hope so.
The deadline for their flight home is looming. But if the good weather holds, tomorrow they'll be standing at the top of the world. Back at Barneo, everyone is a little on edge. The runway is now fixed, but this flight has come direct from Moscow. On board is Misha's boss, Alexander Orlov. This is Misha's first season in charge at Barneo. It's important he makes a good impression. Alexander hasn't come alone. Misha has the task of looking after Artur Chilangarov, the Russian minister for the Arctic.
Now we just had a plane coming in from Russia with some what they call big potatoes, like hot shots. We guess from business world in Russia and also some celebrities.
Helicopter. Please follow me.
Alexander Orlov made his fortune in business, but he's no stranger to the Arctic. He's a seasoned explorer and set up Barneo in 2002.
Ну, меня вот в Арктику привела работа в 1975 году. Вот. А вообще, конечно, есть такая пословица, даже не пословица, а как бы укушен полярной мухой.
The guest's plane will remain on standby. The pilot must keep the engines running as the sub-zero temperatures could prevent them from restarting.
Our plane is standing parked in the runway and waiting for them. And the plane burns fuel, so it can stay around 3 hours, not more.
Ice Camp Barneo costs millions to run each season. The biggest expense being fuel. The VIPs are whisked up to the pole for the ultimate photo opportunity. Misha must show them a good time. There are just 3 weeks each year for Barneo to make its money before the summer sun melts the ice. So it doesn't hurt to gain the backing of Russia's movers and shakers.
Не пользуемся. Ну, наверное, важно, потому что этого никто не делает. Это некое в течение месяца некое сообщество полярников. Здесь же не только русские, здесь весь мир. И вот это общение, понимание того, что мы дети природы.
Hot wine at the North Pole. Some people need it. Personally, not so much, but it's tradition.
In April, you never have the pole to yourself for very long. Expedition groups that have made the long trek across the ice on foot arrive to be ferried back to camp by helicopter.
If you landing in the North Pole, sometimes you can see the village of the tents, of groups of skiers waiting to pick up after successful reach of the North Pole. Добрый день.
We traveled there skiing for 3 days, sleeping over in the tents. It was cool. It was extremely hard way, especially for a woman. For me, it was the first time for me, but it's worth doing this.
It's also time for Misha's special guests to head home. The Antonov 74 is specially designed to operate in the harsh Arctic climate. The engine's exhaust gases are blown over the top of the wings to produce extra lift, essential during takeoff on Barneo's short runway. With the plane load of VIPs safely away, Misha can relax again.
Well done, well done. Airplane in the air. It's good.
While the Russians may be used to the freezing temperatures, for the first-time visitor, the Arctic climate can be a shock. Dave Sissons is a banking strategist from London. He's just back from a trip to the pole, and he found dressing for the cold a bit confusing. He's decided to come clean to one of the guides.
Day one we set out, I had one base layer. It's pretty cold here, so I thought I might get away with having another base layer. It's windy and chilly as well, so I thought maybe a fleece jacket, and then I had my windproof jacket.
4 layers.
Yeah. Without knowing, I started to sweat. Then we could still see the evidence of how much kit I managed to write off on the first day.
With temperatures as low as -30, sweat soon freezes solid.
I've still got the second base layer from that day, which is quite solid indeed.
Yeah, it was quite wet.
Yeah, that was quite wet. And then we got various my hat and my fur buff from my coat.
Yeah,
that didn't do too well either.
No, but it's a very normal thing to do. Most people actually dress up too much.
Yeah,
and then when they start working, they get too warm and start sweating.
No one will sit next to me in the mess tent now, and I figure that's because I'm still wearing the same set.
Out on the ice, Eric's team are into their final push to the pole. Everything was going well, but the drifting ice is moving more quickly, carrying them further from their goal. And one of the team has fallen ill.
Unfortunately, all going against us today. The drift is worse than ever. I think it's increased by maybe a kilometre or 2 per day, in the wrong direction, of course. The visibility is not spectacular. That slows things down, makes the route finding difficult. Christoph, unfortunately, has got a bit of a tummy bug. It's all conspired against us today.
With a sick team member, maintaining the pace needed to outrun the drift is an almost impossible task.
I have no information, only from you.
At Camp Barneo, Misha is getting the daily position updates from teams heading to the pole.
164.20. Okay, and everything is good with people.
But he has to pass on bad news about Eric's progress.
Eric Phillips did stop 10 miles from North Pole. He decided it's finished for him.
Against Misha's advice, Eric's team chose to walk against the drift of the ice. But slowed down by illness in the team and bad weather, Eric calls in a chopper to pick them up, 10 miles short of the pole.
You need to respect drift. That's all. If you don't respect it, you will be punished. What actually happened?
After battling through blizzards and sub-zero temperatures, it's a disappointing end to their adventure.
Greetings.
How's it going, Eric?
Not the best. We feel a little gypped, a little shortchanged.
Unsuccessful teams are often flown to the pole to achieve their dream of standing at the top of the world. But the pilot has refused to take them, and Eric's group have been flown straight back to camp.
People pay a lot of money, and I don't think ever before in the history of, Barneo operations, a team hasn't actually stood at the North Pole. And this team was fantastic. And I promised, if we don't make it to the North Pole, then we fly in. That's always happened in the past. And suddenly, for the first time, it doesn't happen.
Landing was not so nice. The helicopter landed just a couple meters near crack, and chief of pilots said it's too risky. I can't take a risk to fly with people to the North Pole, and he decided to fly back.
Ultimately, the pilot makes the decision whether it's safe to fly. Not even Misha can overrule him.
No, there's no guarantee, absolutely.
In the mess room, the team make their disappointment clear.
You stay in North Pole many for only opportunity for me, and I'm sad, you know, I triste.
Sad, yeah, I understand. I agree. Misha might be quietly gratified that we didn't make it to the pole, because his advice was to be dropped off where we would have an easy drift into the pole.
I didn't want to say something bad. I just wanted to give you...
It's nothing bad, it's your opinion.
I spent on this ice almost 2 years just sleeping in the tent of drifting ice. It's, believe me, it's a big experience.
It would have been great to come back with success under our belts and equally stare Misha in the face and say, we told you so. It didn't work out that way either.
I am not happy that I am right. I knew exactly it will happen. And I warn guys, if they are not very happy, it means they need to ask, first of all, from themselves.
We had hoped to have been able to see the GPS showing exactly 90. We'd got within 10 miles. You know, hey-ho, it's one of those things.
One group has had better luck with the weather during their trip.
Today is my birthday.
Rafael's dog sled team had the drift in their favour, successfully reaching the top of the world.
Yeah, quite easy this year. It was really no problem. Nice weather and easy ice.
It's been the last trip for lead dog Wally before his retirement. But new recruit Nelson will make a fine replacement.
The old leader, it was a little bit tired. I think it was a little bit too much for him anyway. He is now loose and running to helicopter like he should. He already sits inside and waiting for the flight to Borneo.
Back at camp, what better way to celebrate than with traditional Russian delicacies? Vodka, raw garlic, and cured pig fat known as salo.
Salo. Bacon, no. Salo, good.
And salo with garlic. It's wonderful.
На здоровье.
На здоровье.
Просто.
Просто. Salute.
Ice Camp Barneo's short season has come to an end. The rising temperature will soon melt the frozen surface of the ocean. For 18 days, the most northern airport in the world has turned the dreams of hundreds of people into reality. For the next 11 months, no human will set foot on this most extraordinary spot on the planet. Planning for next season will begin in just a few days. But as the temporary town is packed away, the staff can think of home.
Barneo finish. Yeah. We go home now.
I'm very excited to go home, first of all. Then I'm a little bit sad that everything is gone. Fortunately, everything was very good, and now Barneo is over. Bye-bye Arctic, and hello my family.